We've all been there. Streaming the latest must-watch show and it starts to buffer. Or you're on an important work call and the audio starts to cut out. If you're looking for a new broadband provider, right now we're offering Which members a £25 Amazon gift card just for switching via our website. Simply head to broadband.which.co.uk to compare the current deals and find the right provider for you. What's more, if you switch to Which recommended provider PlusNet, we'll upgrade that £25 gift card to one worth £50. This offer is exclusive to Which members, so if you're not already a member, then just head to which.co.uk/podcast offer to grab a Which membership for 50% off the usual price. Then go to broadband.which.co.uk to complete your broadband switch. But hurry, you have to switch before the 23rd of April to be eligible for the gift card. T's and C's apply.
Are you sick of a slow internet connection, poor customer service and rising fees? Well, these are the very best broadband providers. Hello, I'm James Rowe, and this week I'm going to reveal the very best broadband providers thanks to some research undertaken by Yvette Fletcher in the April issue of Which magazine. Plus, there are some recent changes made by the regulator Ofcom that make switching even easier. Here's Yvette's piece, adapted for the podcast, this week read by Rob Lilly-Jones.
What we need from broadband providers isn't complicated. A reliable connection at a reasonable price. And while they should offer decent customer support, we'd rather not have to use it. Yet for all the marketing speak about powerful hubs, expert service, seamless connections and exclusive deals, our research shows that basic needs aren't always being met. Our survey of more than 4,000 broadband customers highlighted substantial gaps between providers, whether you focus on connections, value or customer service. So, who took the top spot? Well, it's a familiar name. It's Zen Internet. It was the only provider to earn 4 out of 5 stars in all of the categories we could rate it in. But after 4 years of having just one Which recommended provider, or WRP, this year 2 others have joined that exclusive club, PlusNet and Utility Warehouse. They also both earned our endorsement with strong sets of ratings, taking 2nd and 3rd place respectively. But what about the big name providers? Well, for BT, Sky, TalkTalk and Virgin Media, their scores were, as usual, mediocre at best. Value for money was a challenge for BT, Sky and Virgin Media, while TalkTalk, along with Sky and Virgin Media, received poor ratings for the speed of connections. The rating given for how quick and easy it is to contact these providers, their communication, customer service and technical support were also mixed, with only our 3 WRPs managing 4 of the 5 stars in any of these categories. Virgin Media customers were particularly disparaging when it came to their experiences. Unsurprising given that it's routinely the provider that Ofcom, the telecoms regulator, receives the most complaints about. Virgin Media is also subject to an Ofcom investigation into its complaints handling and customer difficulties cancelling contracts. One thing that can frustrate customers is mid-contract price rises. Thankfully, the rules have changed. In January, Ofcom banned providers from rising prices in line with inflation. Now, when you take out a contract, any planned price rises must be clearly outlined in pounds and pence. This is something we here at Which campaigned for. Now, pricing practices are no longer opaque and unfair. Most providers now advertise annual mid-contract price rises at around the £3 per month mark, while Virgin Media upped theirs to £3.50. There are some providers that charge lower prices overall and shout loudly about doing so, but they are actually putting their prices up by the same amount. For example, TalkTalk calls itself a great value broadband provider, while the marketing of PlusNet, also owned by BT, and Vodafone, positions them as affordable options. And our research shows that the average customer of these 3 providers does pay less than the likes of BT, EE, Sky, and Virgin Media. Competitive prices are a boon, but they make these price increases stand out. We estimate that as many as 9 in 10 PlusNet, TalkTalk and Vodafone customers could end up paying more as a result of the pricing policy changes based on this year's figures. This sits in contrast to the mobile sector, where some providers will impose lower price increases for customers with lower data limits. We asked PlusNet, TalkTalk and Vodafone about this, and they all told us the price rises were transparent and required for network investment and in line with other providers. So yes, this is all well within the new rules set by Ofcom, which are focused around transparency, but is it in the spirit of them? That's less clear. We think it's something Ofcom needs to keep an eye on. Meanwhile, if you're choosing a new deal, be sure to check the cost of the whole contract before committing. We've seen several examples where deals that look cheaper at first glance end up costing more overall than comparable options from providers such as Zen Internet, Hyperoptic, and Utility Warehouse that don't put up their prices every year. If you're looking to switch, you'll be pleased to know that it's easier than ever. It's thanks to something called One Touch Switch. Now all you ever need to do is contact the provider you want to switch to, and they'll do all the hard work for you. Think of it like the current account switching service for when you move your money to a new bank. But are you still not sure whether to stick or switch? Well, here are some things to consider. But first, a few words about customer service, written by Dr. Yvonne Hoger, a principal consumer researcher here at Which. Having to contact a customer service team isn't on many people's wish list. Ideally, your broadband connection will be set up and working smoothly. Fortunately, our research has shown that, in fact, most customers haven't needed to contact their provider in the past year. However, nearly 4 in 10 did. And when we dug into our data to see how this had affected the way they felt about their provider overall, it clearly had a negative impact. Customers who said they'd contacted their provider's customer service team in the past year gave significantly lower ratings for customer service, were less satisfied overall, and were considerably less likely to recommend their provider. If it had been solely up to them, their provider would have received a lower customer score. Of those who got in touch with their provider's customer service team, a quarter were dissatisfied with how long it took to get in touch with someone who could be of help. A similar number were dissatisfied with how long it took to get an answer to their query, and 1 in 5 were dissatisfied with overall customer service. It is imperative that providers work harder to improve customer satisfaction for everyone. Our research shows they can't just focus on technology and infrastructure. Investment in customer service is worthwhile. Customers who were satisfied having contacted customer service were much happier with their provider overall, compared to those who were dissatisfied with their provider's response. So, should you switch? If you want to save money, then yes. Our research routinely shows that switching providers is the best way to save money, and you could save an average of £105 per year. So if you're sick of bad service, the answer is also yes. If you experience a dodgy connection or poor customer service, move on. A new provider can mean better service, technical or personal. The same goes if you want faster speeds. Given the pace of the full fibre rollout, there's a decent chance that faster connections are available in your area with a wider range of providers. But there are reasons to stay and haggle. If you can't fault your provider, don't feel the need to ditch it. Negotiate when your contract ends to ensure you're getting the best deal. If you want a faster speed, better router, or additional services such as pay TV, then simply ask your provider what they can do for you. And if you don't have alternatives in your area, it's essential to stay on top of your contract and renegotiate regularly.
Thanks for listening to this podcast from Which, the UK's consumer champion. You can find plenty more advice about what we discussed today in the show notes. There you'll also find a link to become a Which member for 50% off the usual price, an offer exclusively available to you, our podcast listeners. Joining Which will not only give you access to all of our product reviews, our app, one-to-one personalised buying advice and every issue of Which magazine across the year, but you'll also be helping us to make life simpler, fairer and safer for everyone. Don't forget to hit subscribe wherever you're listening, that way you'll be notified whenever we release a new episode of Which Money, Which Shorts or another podcast that we make for you. And if you want to get in touch with us, then follow us on social media, we're at Which UK, or you can drop us an email to podcasts@which.co.uk. See you next time.
Every year, Which tests thousands of the products that you rely on every day. And we've been doing it for over 60 years.
Which reviews are 100% impartial. We don't accept freebies from manufacturers, and we have no owners, shareholders or government departments to answer to. So our work is on behalf of you, the consumer.
In a world of misleading claims and fake reviews, we test everything, from everyday items to big purchases, so that you don't have to.
We then put them through tests and assessments that go beyond the accepted standard to work out how well these products work for you and what's not worth your money. And a Which membership not only gets you access to our reviews, it also funds our non-profit campaigning work, like getting scam ads banned on social media and ending broadband and mobile mid-contract price hikes. And right now, podcast listeners can become a Which member for 50% off the usual price by heading to which.co.uk/podcast offer.